imagine that you walk up to the ticket counter at your local airport and you say, I want to go on vacation. Well, the stewardess, if she's nice, she'll look at you and say, well, where do you want to go? Well, I don't know. I want to go someplace maybe warm.
Surprise
maybe
me, right?
Not warm. Surprise me, And the surprise is she's tapping a button underneath the counter because you're Looney Tunes if you don't know where you want to go on your trip. So TSA or whatever they're called down the States are rushing now to come and intercept you at the counter. So if you start with clarity and you understand where you want to go, you're going to get to your destination a whole lot faster.
Life is going great until one day you're out of work. No matter how it happened, you need to find a new job, pronto. The problem is, no one ever taught you how to navigate the ever-shifting and ever-changing wasteland of applying for a job in the modern market. I'm Rob Conlon, and here on Recruiting Hell, I help people get jobs. I'm on a mission to help educate 10,000 job seekers on the best ways to get hired in the modern job market. No matter your field, this show is designed to help you level up your job hunting game and escape the many circles of recruiting hell. Step into my studio and let's get you the hell out of here. This episode of Recruiting Hell is generously supported by our friends at CoinList, one of the fastest growing companies in the cryptocurrency space. CoinList is hiring. Visit www.coinlist.co/jobs to apply. Tell them Rob sent you. Hello, and welcome to Recruiting Hell. This is our third and final part of our triple header with David Perry. If you haven't listened to the first two episodes, number 50 and 51, go back and get in on the conversation. There are so many opportunities to level up your job hunt in this 3-pack of episodes. This could have been a season all on its own. But of course, we believe in giving you more here at Recruiting Hell, so there's going to be another 8 episodes to finish out the season to episode 60. But here, David is holding down the middle of the season like a absolute champion, and we're going to rejoin the conversation already in progress and close it out. Thanks again for listening.
Thank you. Well, you may decide you're going to cut this part out of the show, which is fine. But I think I sent you a copy of Diary of a Successful Job Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is the one that it's on Amazon, it's on AppSumo for $1, or it's free on the website. If you read through the foreword, and I don't think you have because I just sent it a couple days ago. If you read through the foreword, I ask you to do 2 things after you get a job. The first thing is to find 3 friends while you've just gotten the job. Find 3 friends that are looking, sit them down and tell them what you learned, and let them ask you questions so that they can go get a better job.
Right.
Too. And then, if you're so inclined, drop me a note and tell me what worked, what didn't work. And if you found something else that works even better, or you found a different flavor vanilla for one of these tactics, tell us and let us share it with other people. That's how this moves us all forward.
Definitely. Good stuff. Well, hey, David, we have covered a truckload of ground today. Literally, just like this has been just fabulous. There are 3 or 4 really incredible techniques that you have shared with us today, and I'm so thankful to you for bringing A, your A game personality-wise, but B, also your A game when it comes to like actual actionables. We love that on this show. So you've listened to a number of episodes of this, and at the end of the show, I turn the tables on a guest. Are there any other things that I missed, whether it's about your org, your work, your business, your insight on finding a job that I didn't ask you that would help somebody else out there find a new position?
We didn't actually say this specifically, but I kind of hint towards it.
Go for it.
And I'm kind of slow, so I'm going to assume nobody else picked it up either. When you start looking for a job, the first thing you have to do is you have to start with clarity. Clarity. You got to know what you want to do, who you want to do it for, and why they're going to be interested in talking to you. And let me put a little bit of a box around this. Imagine that you walk up to the ticket counter at your local airport and you say, I want to go on vacation. Well, the stewardess, if she's nice, she'll look at you and say, well, where do you want to go? Well, I don't know. I want to go someplace maybe warm.
Surprise
maybe
me, right?
Not warm. Surprise me, And the surprise is she's tapping a button underneath the counter because you're Looney Tunes if you don't know where you want to go on your trip. So TSA or whatever they're called down the States are rushing now to come and intercept you at the counter. So if you start with clarity and you understand where you want to go, you're going to get to your destination a whole lot faster. You're going to make it a much easier job for everybody that you're going to run into that's going to want to help you. It'll go a lot faster. It's really smoother. And as I say to people all the time, especially now, when I started out my career back in 1982, oh God, I'm old. You're expected to get a job and keep it for the next 50 years.
Right.
You hired to retire. You were hired to retire. Oh, thank God those days have changed. You got to think like you're playing pool. Okay?
Okay.
You're playing 8-ball. Anybody can sink one shot. 2 shots, maybe. 3, clear the table, doesn't happen. It's the same in your career. Think about this. When you're going into an interview and the interviewer says, well, where'd you like to be in 5 years? The answer is not, I want to have your job, honey. That's not the answer. That's what everybody told you was the answer. It's not.
Right, yes.
But if you're clear about what you want to do, you can say, well, I'd like this job right now because boom, boom, boom. And I think if I'm really good at this, then the next job for me here would be this job, right? And they'll say, yeah. And if I do that really well, then, I could probably move into this role. And if that's not available, I might have to go outside and get another job. But these are the next 5 jobs I see myself in over the next 10 or 15 years. Is that possible here? And you've done your research because you've done the newly departed, and you know that the manager sitting across from you who's interviewing you, she's really smart, she's ambitious, she's got a brain. And you say, these are the next 3 jobs, 2 of them are here, these are the next 5 jobs. She's going to be going, oh my God, I've got a winner here on my team. I can take this person with me. Hallelujah, baby. The next 5 jobs are all lined up. It might not come out that way, but at least you understand the direction that you're headed. And they can help you get there.
Wow.
It's called, they call it engagement now. They call
sure.
it, we have to have candidate engagement. Candidate engagement is nothing more than making sure that the person that you've hired likes the job that they're in, and they're being quote-unquote fulfilled while they make you a pile of money. Right? Because 82% of Americans either hate their job or really hate their job. And that
right.
affects productivity. So
sure.
Why not line people up into the right jobs? Can you imagine going on an interview and they say, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you tell them?
Right. You actually give them the answer that they're looking for?
Yeah. They go, oh my God, I have an engaged, quote unquote, I have an engaged person here. No, you have a guy that's 75 years old, really, in a 23-year-old body, who's thinking like someone used to think when I got out of university. They actually understand what it is they want to do. So back to your question, clarity. And the clearer you are, the easier it is for them to say yes, because everybody that hires anybody is worried about risk. HR are they in the risk avoidance business?
Right.
They have to be. Hiring managers too. If you hire a team of 10 and 7 of them are gone at the end of the year, you're probably in trouble, and your bonus is affected. If you're still working there. So that's one, I would say. You want more?
If you got them, that's great. Yeah.
I wrote a couple of these down because I knew they were coming.
Good, go for it. I'm glad. Yeah.
So here's the best advice I can give anybody looking for a job. stop applying for jobs. Stop. Just stop. Start applying to companies. Stop chasing a job. You're 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000, right? So when you apply for a job, you're 1 in a. You're a number. When you stop applying for a job and you start applying to companies, you're doing your research, you know what their issues are, you know what you can do for them. When you start to go after them, you're no longer 1 in 1,000. You're 1 in, 1. You're
Got
in a
it.
pool of 1. So if you want to start your own job board, do your top 10. And you're going to be the only person that's going to go after those 10 jobs. Because there isn't anybody else that is as unique as you are. There isn't. No one has your skills. No one else has your experience. You are completely unique, and you deserve to be happy. So why not figure out what that's going to take? Because when you find it, believe me, when you're sitting across the table from a hiring manager who says, well, because they all say this, or a lot of them say it so snarkily, well, why should we hire you? Well, when you lean in and give them the top 3 reasons, you're going to be pretty compelling.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Excellent. Well, good deal, David. Those were just fabulous to bring to people. I think that may be the most value in that question segment that we've had in 50 some episodes, which is just awesome.
So you want a bonus?
Let's go.
Okay. So a lot of people use LinkedIn.
Right.
Most people use it wrong. Even if they're engineers. And I'll give you the story. You can decide to keep it in or not. But most people treat LinkedIn like it's another resume. So they take their resume and they stuff it in wherever it is. So you got to imagine the life of a recruiter. And I'm giving this speech. It's the same place I'm giving this speech when I got to talk to Krista in Detroit afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Detroit. It's 2008 or 2009. There's 700 people and some odd in the audience. And Kevin and I are talking. I always talk with a partner. There's always 2 of us talking at the same time. And I said to the audience, so how many jobs are there for exhaust systems engineers right now in Detroit? And we went around the room. We let them shout it out. It's like playing Stump the Recruiter. I play for money.
Right.
I said $20. You get the right answer, $20. It's a U.S. 20. It's not a Canadian.
Yeah, not a Canadian
real.
20.
It's green. And they go around the room and they all say none. And I said, you know what? I would have thought that too. Given the economy and all. But this morning at about 5:30, I went on Google and I did a search for exhaust systems engineers jobs in Detroit. And Google says there's 32. And Twitter says there's 16. And blah, blah. I did this with 3 different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so I would like all the exhaust systems engineers in the audience to please stand now. So they all stood up. There's probably about 40 or 50 of them. And I said, okay, remain standing. If after I tell you this, remain standing if I would have found you. I am a recruiter. I'm a simple BA, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. You're all engineers, and I pronounce it engineers on purpose just to annoy them. You're all way smarter than me. I know this. You're way smarter than the average recruiter, but you need to know that, because if a recruiter has a job order and it's for an exhaust systems engineer in Detroit, do you know what they do? Of course you don't, because you're all in the audience.
Right.
I said they go to LinkedIn or they go to Google and they type in exhaust systems engineer Detroit, and then they hit the button and it goes away and it comes back, and my God, there's no results. So let me ask you, people in the audience, if I went on to LinkedIn today and I said exhaust systems engineer Detroit, how many of you would I find? And I would only find you, by the way, if you'd use those words, exhaust systems engineer and Detroit. They all sat down. All of them.
Really?
I said, listen, Tonight, when you go home, if you're going to order a pizza, and you go to the Yellow Pages, some folks won't know what Yellow Pages are. You can explain it to them later.
Right.
Or you use Google, and you're looking for a pizza. Do you go to the Chinese food section of the Yellow Pages? No.
Absolutely not. No.
No. You go to the pizza section. It's the same thing if you're a recruiter. If I'm looking for an exhaust systems engineer in Detroit, those are the keywords I'm going to use. You have to use the same keywords to be found. So on your resume, in your LinkedIn profile, please put in the words that are going to allow a recruiter or a hiring manager to find you for the job you want to do. It's pretty simple. And if you don't know what words to use, here comes the cheat. Folks listening to this, don't share this with anybody else, because then they'll figure it out and you won't get to use this. So here's what you do. You go to LinkedIn. You figure out what title, what job you want to do. You go to LinkedIn. You put those keywords in. You run a search. Up pop the people that you found. You're probably not there. So take the first two that pop up, read them. Find out what words they used, what keywords they used to be found. And duplicate what they've done, and then add another one just for fun, so you'll come up first. It's not that hard.
Excellent. Wow. That, again, like I said, probably the most value we've gotten in that segment, David, from anybody who's been on this show
I'm
yet.
having fun.
Good. I'm glad you are.
I'm cooking with gas. I'm having fun.
Here it's time to turn up the heat then, because we're going to do the last three little questions here. You've probably heard them done. They're kind of the more rapid fires. It might be a one-word answer, and that works, but don't be afraid to talk a little bit more in depth if you'd like. So the final three questions, are you ready, my friend?
Yep.
Sounds good. So first thing, David, what is the number one thing you think is wrong with the way that the modern job search works?
People apply for jobs. We talked about this.
Okay.
People apply for jobs. And why that's wrong is it's reactive. People wait until they see something posted somewhere rather than figuring out where their skills can be applied and going out and solving someone's problem. And if you want to put this into monetary terms, the hidden job market is hidden because in America, in North America, the vast majority of jobs are in the SMBs, the small and medium-sized businesses.
Right.
Small and medium-sized businesses don't have $350 to $500 to post an ad every month to find a position. They don't. And they're not going to use a recruiter. They're not. So the jobs aren't really hidden. They're there. The needs are there. You just don't see them posted. So stop applying for jobs. Start to leverage the hidden job market. And the way you do that is with the monster hack, where you use your skills to find the companies that need your skills. And then you look for the companies that compete with those companies. Maybe they're not advertising because they're not big enough. It's a long answer, but that is the major thing with the job market today. People go after posted jobs, and it's you're missing 90% of it. And what's really unfortunate is that, again, this is my business hat on, the 90% of the companies that could use your skills, because they're a small and medium-sized business, and your skills would make the difference for them growing.
Yeah,
are never going to get to meet you because they didn't post a job, and maybe you didn't know you could do this. So stop being lazy. Go after the entire job. Go after the entire market.
That's excellent advice.
I shouldn't have said lazy. People aren't lazy. They just don't know. I apologize.
That's fair. But either way, that is great advice. In that, again, you might see all these big companies hiring, but that's the tip of the iceberg. The rest is below the waves. So that's great. And then the other thing I wanted to add on to that was, even if you are in a job right now, whether you love it or hate it, you still need to be looking, because it sucks to be thrown out to the world one day where it's awful and cold and have to cold start that job hunt too, which is just awful. So next question, David, what's the number one thing that you've seen with the modern job hunt everyone doesn't do that they should be doing?
People, again, it's going to come back to people apply for jobs.
Got it. And for the same reasons you just described,
Yep.
of looking for the ice below the water.
Yep. Do your top 10, do your list of top 10 companies. It's 10. The FBI has a top 10 list.
Right.
Not a top 12 list or a top 50 list. It's a top 10 list because that's what you can imagine. That's what you can manage while you're focusing.
Got it. So no billboard with top 100 then, right? The music people have it wrong.
Does anybody remember number 100, 99, 98, 97? No.
That's very
But
true.
when you get to 10, you remember 10, 9, and you remember 3, 2, and 1.
You got it.
Yeah.
Good deal. Last one. What's your number one LinkedIn tip?
Go and search for your position that you want and figure out how to, and we talked about a couple minutes ago, how to search engine optimize yourself so that you get found. And I'd like to offer one specific tip that you didn't touch on.
Go for it.
Everybody messes up. When you create your resume and you save it in a Word document or a PDF, most people save it under the title resume. Oh my God! You know what it's like being a recruiter when you're doing a skill search in a database of 20,000 people for a C++ manager or something like that, and all of a sudden you get all this data thrown back at you, and it says resume. Stop. If you're going to save your resume, save it as, if you're a project manager, say project manager with XYZ experience, resume. Sales manager with experience, resume. 5-star customer service manager. Use something creative so that when I or another recruiter, and there's like 250,000 of us in America, when we do a search, we don't get a result back that says resume. It says what's on the resume, and that makes you stand out. So I read that first.
I love that. Label the product. Don't just hit like.
I'm going to remember that part. Label the product, please.
Yep, label the product. Like if you're shopping for something in a store, you don't just grab a random can off the shelf. It has to have a label. It's soup. It's green beans. It's whatever it might be.
Brilliant.
So you don't. That's, and for a recruiter, David, that is so. That's such a simple thing to do. Like that is literally one of our 5-minute fixes for like in my newsletter. We have the 5-minute resume fix. And that is such a critical one. That's a 5-second fix almost of label your stuff. Like, wow, that's so good.
Can I
Excellent.
do one more?
Go for it.
One more.
Go for it, man.
On your LinkedIn profile, if I find you and I think you're fabulous, I don't want to have to send you a LinkedIn invitation. Could you please put either your email address or your phone number?
Get that contact
info
out
and
there.
Get a Google phone number for free, by the way.
Right.
Put it in your summary, right at the top, so I don't got to go looking. Because in the recruiting world, I mean, we work on retainer, so we get paid bags of gold before we do anything. 99% of recruiters are on contingency, which means they don't get paid until somebody they put forward gets hired. So normally when an employer hires a recruiter on contingency, they'll hire 10 of them. So it's a race to get the person's resume.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, this is new. This is a whole other discussion, but it's a race to get the person's resume on that hiring manager's desk. This is real. This is 250,000 people doing this every single day. So if someone needs to take 10 minutes to find your resume, but they can take 15 seconds to find someone else's, call them, have a quick chat, and forward it through, what do you think they're going to do? Unless you are absolutely more outstanding than everybody else that has your position, you'd be best off to make it as easy as possible for the recruiters to find out if you're interested in a role.
Man, the last 5 minutes of this show here could be an episode on its own, David. That is, there's, I have some episodes way in the back catalog. They're good. They were good for the time, but man, the 5 minutes we've just had right here around these three questions has been, I think that has more information than a couple of my episodes that I'm not as skilled at, like almost a year ago, which is just crazy. So just, wow.
You ask great questions, and if I can say something to close, if that's
Go for it, yeah.
You're going to chop this up any way you want to, but everything that I've talked about tonight is in that book I sent you.
Awesome. That's
available on Amazon, which you can buy AppSumo for $1, or go to mynewjobhunt.com and get for free. And it's called Diary of a Successful Job Hunter. Practical tips, tricks, and tactics to land your dream job in any economy, something like that. But I know the opening. I don't remember the subtitle. But
That's
the point
all right.
is, if you go to mynewjobhunt.com, you can't miss it, and you can download it for free. And everything we've talked about is in that book, because that's the I think we talked about this the other day. That's the journal that Greg Quirk kept when I was coaching him through the job search boot camp. And because his keeping the journal was payment instead of cash,
sure,
I get to have the book. I mean, I think I told you I expected maybe 2,000 or 3,000 words out of him as he blogged about this thing. It's 52,070 words. It's a freaking book.
It's unbelievable.
It's a book. I could take it to my publisher at Wiley now and have it turned into a book and sold on Amazon. Not going to do that. I want people to go download it for free, go through the stuff, get a job, turn around, tell your 3 friends who are stuck how to do it for themselves.
Nice.
And when all that is done and America's back on track and back on top, we can talk about how we're all going to go and save the rest of the world. But in the meantime, we got to get our own house in order. And this is the fastest, easiest way to do it that I can help with anyway.
Fair enough. Well, that's awesome. And you almost stole my last question here,
I'm
David.
Sorry.
And, don't be, because you gave so much in this entire interview, and I wanted you to have the chance to get your stuff out there to people. If they were to not only head to that website, grab that download, maybe even buy your book, where else would they find you out in the realms of cyberspace?
So the easiest way to find my stuff, and I have a million words in print.
Woo,
so
it's a lot of writing.
It's a and I'm a reluctant writer. This is I didn't set out to do this. So mynewjobhunt.com for job hunters, Perry-Martel.com for recruiting. I don't think anyone's going to do that on here, but if you want to have fun, then just go to Google and type in brackets or in parentheses Rogue Recruiter. Because the Rogue Recruiter stuff will bring up the Wall Street Journal article where they nickname me the Rogue Recruiter. And then that article led to the cover story in Fortune magazine about 6 months later. I think it was May 2009. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I've thrown out there under my pen name as Rogue Recruiter. So that's another easy way to find
very cool,
really cool tips to close. If that's
go for it, yeah.
You're going to chop this up any way you want to. But everything that I've talked about tonight is in that book I sent you.
Awesome.
That's available on Amazon, which you can buy AppSumo for $1, or go to mynewjobhunt.com and get for free. And it's called Diary of a Successful Job Hunter. Practical tips, tricks, and tactics to land your dream job in any economy. Go to mynewjobhunt.com. You can't miss it, and you can download it for free. And everything we've talked about is in that book, because that's the I think we talked about this the other day. That's the journal that Greg Quirk kept when I was coaching him through the job search boot camp. And because his keeping the journal was payment instead of cash,
sure,
I get to have the book. I mean, I think I told you I expected maybe 2,000 or 3,000 words out of him as he blogged about this thing. It's 52,070 words. It's a freaking book.
It's unbelievable.
It's a book. I could take it to my publisher at Wiley now and have it turned into a book and sold on Amazon. Not going to do that. I want people to go, download it for free, go through the stuff, get a job, turn around, tell your 3 friends who are stuck how to do it for themselves.
Nice.
And when all that is done and America's back on track and back on top, we can talk about how we're all going to go and save the rest of the world. But in the meantime, we've got to get our own house in order. And this is the fastest, easiest way to do it that I can help with anyway.
As we draw this episode to a close, remember, you are worth more than your work. Your value to society is not dictated by what you do to pay your bills. Job hunting is difficult, no matter your age, gender, location, or background, and it's both acceptable and to your benefit to seek every bit of help in conquering this challenge. For more from Recruiting Hell, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player or our YouTube channel, and don't forget to leave a review of the show if your podcast platform allows it. It's tremendously helpful. Connect with Rob via LinkedIn. Be sure to visit recruiting-hell.com to subscribe to our newsletter, and of course follow the show all across social media. Just look for the orange and blue flame logo. Recruiting Hell is a production of Westport Studios and is proudly made in Wisconsin. Lastly, be sure to visit and support our sponsors. They make it possible to do this show and make it better every single week. Remember, your job hunt is a marathon, not a sprint, and Recruiting Hell will be here to help you keep pace. Thanks for listening. Hey folks, it's Rob. Are you looking for a new opportunity in an up-and-coming industry that can help you get out of recruiting hell? CoinList, one of the fastest growing companies in the cryptocurrency space, is hiring. That's right, they not only support this show because they believe in it, but they believe that there's great talent to be found in this audience. Generous comp, great flexibility, incredible benefits, a strong culture, and a powerhouse team sound like a fit for you? Head to www.coinlist.co/jobs and apply today. That's www.coinlist.co/jobs. And be sure to let them know that you found them here on Recruiting Hell.